That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us. Wow.
There's lots of functions.
Obviously.
I'm pointing to a button on the remote control.
Yes.
Second row,
Yeah.
First button.
Yeah.
Can you guess what function that is?
That's looking like the bidet function.
That's the enema function. Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Bielman.
I'm Cecil Davis.
And we're just trying to have a conversation without Google or fact-checking. These things can kill the conversation so much. Most of the times, we're just kind of talking about things that from our own experience or from the experience of others.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about tonight. I can't even do the intro for it because you haven't told me what it is yet.
Well, let me drop something on you here.
These tend to be our better episodes.
Well, let's see what happens.
Or at least more enjoyable for us. Maybe not for the listener, but
that's right. You know, there's a feature in a lot of podcasts that you can listen to it at 1.5 times.
Yes.
Or twice times.
Yes.
So if you find our podcasts are running a little long,
just speed it up.
You can just speed it up artificially.
Do you ever listen to anything that way?
No, I can't.
I can't either. I'm scared it's going to mess with my mind.
I don't know if that's it. I just don't like the voice. I don't like the person sounding like the Chipmunks.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Maybe that's what's going to mess with my mind. So look, there's interesting things about human culture, I have found. And we often find these things through archaeology. And I'm kind of a fan of archaeology. But do you ever wonder what archaeologists are going to think of us in 500, 1,000 years?
Oh, absolutely.
Like what? What kind of things do you wonder about?
I'm not even on that time frame. Well, you know what? Okay, this is a little gross, but I wonder what they're going to think when they dig up a landfill, right? Okay. And there's just hundreds of thousands of plastic bags of dog poo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're going to say, why did they wrap up their dog's poop?
Well, yeah. Well,
in plastic?
There's I think it's a Seinfeld sketch where he talks about aliens looking down.
Oh, insane. Yeah,
aliens looking down and they see one life form carrying the excrement of another life form. They're going to wonder, okay, who's in charge?
Right. So I was like, that's just got to be an odd discovery, I would think. Now we go back.
And they're all blue.
Yeah.
Or blue or green these days.
So you go back and you look, you find like remains of a fire and bones. And, as we go back in time now, they're going to go back and just see all these bags of dog poop and go like, what was going on?
So the one of the excavations I'm curious about is a Buc-ee's truck stop or Buc-ee's gas station.
Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
I have been to a Buc-ee's.
I've been to a Buc-ee's. Yes. All right. So for those who haven't been to Buc-ee's is this car-only gas station chain.
No trucks can go
No
there?
trucks.
I didn't notice that while I was there.
It's a no truck.
You're right. There were no trucks.
No trucks. But it's as big as or bigger than a truck stop.
Yeah.
Okay, it is huge. And where they would normally have truck parking, they have parking lots and gas pumps.
Buc-ee's is an experience.
There's probably 50 to 60 gas pumps. There's enough. There's enough parking the size of a small Walmart parking lot.
Absolutely.
And the store itself it's not the size of a Walmart, but it has the volume or the variety of a Walmart. A lot of items.
Yes.
But the thing that strikes me the most about a Buc-ee's are the bathrooms. When you walk into the bathroom, it's this long room. And along one side are stalls. There must be 30 stalls. And on the other side are urinals. And there must be 30 urinals. And then there's another area where there's sinks. And there must be 20 sinks. And I can only imagine what the women's bathroom is. It's probably 50 stalls lined on either side. And you think, when this is buried under sand or whatever, or under mud, sediment or whatnot, and the waters recede. Global warming has ended. The waters have receded, and they start digging these things up. What are they going to think this place was?
The Buc-ee's. Yeah.
What are they going to think a Buc-ee's is? Is this? Are they going? I mean, they're going to have to look in their history books and what other things could have possibly resembled this?
Right, because the bathrooms there not only are big, they're clean.
Oh, they're spotless.
And the doors go from the bottom from the floor to the ceiling.
Right.
Yeah. So it's private, it's clean, and they're huge.
They're massive. Right. So this is Buc-ee's,
yeah.
and this is generally
the archaeologist has now uncovered this, and he's like, well,
what was going on here?
Yeah.
Don't you wonder that?
Absolutely.
So, interesting thing enough. So I have a friend, and she was traveling over in Israel. And one of the things that happened in Israel, even though the Romans treated them poorly, they brought a lot of technology. So they brought roads, they brought water systems, they brought sewer systems, but they also bought the public bathroom.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know this.
Oh, really?
So she sent me this picture. She shows me this picture. And if you will, so if you're standing in front, there's this wall. Mm-hmm. At the base of the wall is a bit of a trough. And then spanning the trough are two planks. And those planks can either be wood. In this case, they're actually stone. Mm-hmm. They chiseled stone, 2 stone planks. And the 2 stone planks are about 4 to 5 inches apart. And as you can imagine, you squat on these 2 planks over this trough.
Huh.
And that is your toilet.
Wow.
Now, that is a pretty good invention.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good, convenient way to use the bathroom. But then the next picture she shows me is one of awe and mystery. But basically, it's a picture of about 30 of these along a long wall. And this particular picture is of the tour group all sitting on the stalls. They all have blue hats on because they're part of the tour group.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting down looking at their phone.
I had seen that before. Like the picture when these public restrooms, Roman restrooms.
I had never. So I always wondered about the whole Buc-ee's thing, but then this really sealed the deal that archaeologists will figure it out pretty quick because we've done this before. Yeah, we've had large bathrooms.
This kid, what were they doing I understand Buc-ee's because you're traveling.
Right. Now I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if this is like in a Coliseum area or an amphitheater, maybe.
Right.
Maybe it's at a crossroads where there are a lot of people traveling, right?
Maybe it was just a social activity of the day.
Or, maybe a business person had the idea of, I'm going to open up a bathroom here and they're going to charge whatever to come and use it, which you actually do have to pay in other countries. You do have to pay to use the bathroom in some places.
So I'd heard that there was actually music in those bathrooms in Rome.
In Rome? Mm-hmm. What kind of music?
They would have a violinist,
like a live band.
Yeah, like a live. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
With trumpets.
Yeah. Just I don't know if that's true or not.
Liars.
It doesn't sound right, but yeah.
No, I hadn't heard this.
So the Buc-ee's I went to had its own exit.
Oh, did it really?
So imagine excavating that and then somebody trying to figure out that this thing had its own exit.
Right.
This big bathroom.
Big bathroom, a big
fueling station, big bathroom had its own exit.
I mean, all they're going to see is the bathroom and then kind of a cleared out area, a big clearing. So maybe a meeting room.
Right.
And then they're going to see these big holes in the ground. So the tanks will be there.
Right.
Maybe some of the plumbing.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to know what this is unless. No, I mean, actually, they will know what this is. We keep pretty good records.
Unless, all the records would have to disappear and they'd have to piece it back together.
Right.
But I was amazed at Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah.
I was really, I was quite an experience.
When we went, the one time it was late at night, so we got in there relatively easy. But there was another time we went by the Buc-ee's, and the traffic was backed up onto the interstate to get into the Buc-ee's.
That says something because it's a big place.
I mean, it was absolutely packed. It was on the way to one of the Alabama beaches.
Can you imagine them uncovering just that sandwich they have, the brisket sandwich?
Okay.
So can you imagine them, like, if that half circle was still intact when they dug it up? So if you haven't been yet, there's this half circle, big half circle, and they are sliding down brisket sandwiches as fast as they can, and people are picking them off of these chutes as fast as they can.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so that's, did you try the brisket sandwich?
No.
All right, so somebody told me, said try the brisket sandwich. So if you remember, over near the checkouts, there was an area where this is like a just big half circle with chutes, and they're just sliding sandwiches down, and then it's this Buc-ee's brisket.
No, I don't remember this.
And they could not keep up with the demand.
So the closest Buc-ee's I know of is in Atlanta. There might be one closer, but the closest one I know of is in Atlanta.
The one I was in was in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's probably 4 or 5
Still
hours.
about, still a ways away.
There's rumors there's one opening in Florence, South Carolina.
Oh, you know what? I think I've seen a sign for that. Maybe I have heard about that.
Yeah. Anything else that you think from our time would be unusual?
The bidet.
Now? Like when they uncover the bidet?
Yeah. I think that's going to be pretty wild.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, trying to figure out what was going on there.
I only say that is that a friend of mine had all his house replumbed and all the toilets removed and bidets installed.
Wow.
And this was right before during COVID when they couldn't find toilet paper. They said, well, we're going to fix this problem.
Huh.
We're getting bidets. These are some of the most sophisticated bidets I've ever seen. Heated seats, lights, remote control. Have you heard of this?
No, I've seen fancy toilets, but I hadn't seen a remote control.
There's a picture. I'll post this. That's the picture of the remote control.
Wow.
There's lots of functions.
Obviously.
I'm pointing to a button on the remote control.
Yes.
Second row, first button.
Yeah.
Can you guess what function that is?
That's looking like the bidet function.
That's the enema function.
Oh. That's not a feature that you always... That's a pretty fancy toilet.
That is an unbelievably fancy toilet with way too many gadgets.
Yeah.
You push one wrong button on this thing.
Yeah.
Velcro.
Use the remote. The other people are touching the remote and then touching.
Well, no. I mean, it's a bidet. No one's going down there.
Yeah. Okay. That would be, just uncovering, an archaeologist uncovering that remote would be enough.
Exactly. This is not a hospital.
Right. Oh, you mean where it has controls?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other archaeological dig I think will be interesting is just our stadiums.
Yeah.
Some of the stadiums that we've, like the Texas Stadium, which I'm convinced. So Texas Stadium.
The one that opens and closes?
Yeah, it has the big. Yeah. Have you ever been close to this thing? It's a monster. It's where the Dallas Cowboys plays.
Yeah.
This one, I'm convinced that once they solve the gravity equation, this thing will double as a spacecraft that they can launch and take all of the Texas elites into space to rescue them from a dying Earth.
The stadium itself?
The stadium itself.
Just because of the shape?
Just because of the shape, and it seems to be completely self-contained. Huh. It looks like you can even seal it off.
Is that one of the things that the roof is suspended by air pressure?
No, this one is a structure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this one's a structure.
Okay.
I think the air pressure one might be I don't know if that stadium's around anymore, the one that has the air pressure. I thought it was the Silver Dome.
Okay.
That one's long gone. You know they spent $1 billion on the Texas Stadium.
Yeah, I knew it was a big deal.
And they spent $2 billion on the one in LA.
And both of them have retractable roofs. Right?
They do, yeah.
What's the deal with that?
I guess if you want to have the feel of being outside. I mean, you put a sunroof on your car, don't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, yeah, I've got one in my
Sunroofs leak.
Yes. Mine is currently leaking.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I think that's another archaeological wonder that people will come across when they come some of these big stadiums. Mm-hmm. They'll wonder what was being played here.
I also wonder if we had a Pompeii event right now, when they uncovered all the coffee shops
Yeah.
You'd just be like, what was going on with coffee?
Oh, man.
I mean, if you think about it.
Right.
And then just be like, man, there was a coffee shop on every corner.
And they're full of people.
Yeah.
And those people would have been, frozen in time with their laptops.
Yeah.
Right? With their laptops. The coffee cup was plastic or paper so they wouldn't be around.
Yeah.
So they'd probably wonder, well, how are people drinking that thing?
They'd have their laptop and their phone. Everybody they found would probably have a phone for the most part.
And something in their ears.
Yeah.
Earbuds, right?
Right.
Either listening to music or noise canceling.
Right.
Noise canceling comes in handy in podcasts, I hear.
Or even if they tried to figure out, why are some people driving gasoline cars and some people are driving EV cars? If it was just frozen in this moment, they'd be trying to figure out who got the electric cars.
Right. Why are they buying them?
Right. Why? Yeah. And why was there a disparity between gas cars and electric cars? Why weren't they all one or the other?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope all our electronic records will keep people informed.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine now, losing all of that information, but it can happen. I mean, have you ever seen these abandoned cities around the world?
Yeah.
Photographers will go in there. They'll go into an abandoned mall, abandoned city, abandoned town, abandoned big industries.
Yeah.
So it can happen where all of a sudden you just don't know what was.
Hey, think about
you think we'll always know, but there's a chance that we might not.
A lot of those civilizations in Central and South America.
Yeah.
That they excavated those. They were unrecognizable, and then they excavated them, cleaned them up, and they're amazing structures. And they just have theories on why these things stop existing.
Yeah, and these were big civilizations.
Right. So so how did they write anything down?
Right. Yeah, and then you got Chinese culture that they've gotten stuff written down for thousands of years.
That's right. Right.
So I saw a flute that was supposedly 3,000 years old when I was in China.
A what?
Flute.
A flute.
It's made out of a bone of a bird.
Man.
Yeah. So, I didn't know that's the direction you were going in tonight. That was good. I do wonder though what people will think about us.
Right. No, that's right.
That used to happen. Do you ever watch Buck Rogers growing up?
Oh yeah.
You remember that Buck had gotten all this stuff from the museum that was in his room, and he would have to explain what some of it was.
Right.
They had gotten the wrong. They'd figured it out incorrectly.
Oh, that's right. They were trying. They had it wrong.
So for words of wisdom, really, I think the takeaway from all this is, we don't get to write our history.
No, that's true.
Somebody else writes your history.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So no matter what we think about what they're going to think about us, it doesn't matter.
Unless you write an autobiography.
Well, then you write your own history, right? You get to at least have something to say about it.
Yeah. So maybe the words of wisdom. If you want to be remembered, you better write it down yourself.
Write some stuff down. It's funny just how if you want it remembered a certain way, you need to document it yourself.
Because think about the things you remember about your grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the things they wanted you to remember necessarily.
Yeah.
Or at least not everything. There's probably other things they wanted you to remember, but you're going to remember
what you remember.
What you remember.
Yeah. All right. It doesn't sound right, but I think you've reached the end of another That Don't Sound Right.
Hey, before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening. If this is for your first time and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button or the check mark on Apple Podcasts? Also, give us a rating or leave us a review. We'd love to hear about you, hear from you. tdsrpodcast@gmail.com is a great way to email us. You can also find us at tdsrpodcast on Instagram. But let us know what you think about archaeology. What do you think people are going to look back in 500, 1,000 years and will ask the question, what was that?
Right. When they dig up our podcast.
That's right.
They find the audio files of our podcast. They're going to be like, what? What were they doing? People were walking their dogs and listening to this on a regular basis.
That's right. And why were they doing it at extra fast speed?
That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcast in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I am your host, Cecil Davis. I also do our our sound engineering as it is. Our web design is by Peter. He's also your other host. Emily Billman does our graphic design, and Giorgio does our product testing. Brent is our brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is
Scott.
So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.